Hello students, this is Dr. G. Srilata from Department of English. Today, let us learn on the importance of interpersonal skills. The topic is Mastering the Art of Interpersonal Skills. I've put it another subtitle which says Possessing the Two Wardrobes, Communication and Writing. It's very essential for us to understand that effective communication, both in oral and written, makes us successful in personal and professional life. I have listed 10 key interpersonal skills to understand the importance of this topic. We all understand that when we communicate with one another, we all have different personality traits. Irrespective of the intercultural and interlingual barriers that we have within ourselves, we need to master these skills. First comes communication. My dear friends, communication means speaking, reading, writing and listening. We need to expand our horizons and understand how this communication can take place in an effective manner. Because oral communication and body language go hand in hand to convey the message. When your thought process is clear, the written purpose is also served in the best way, because whatever ideas you have should be properly placed in the right sequence and consecutive manner. So first thing is we need to practice and develop our communication skills. Second comes courtesy. One needs to be very courteous during communication. We all know courtesy means manners. You should be polite, you should be humble, and you have to follow certain etiquettes. And especially when it comes to business etiquette, you should be very gracious. The expressions such as can you please or thank you, all these expressions add respect and your communication will become smooth, easier and hassle-free. Courtesy is one key role which helps us to understand how you need to be considerate over the other person. Because if you are not courteous, you cannot empathize and it becomes difficult to understand the other person. Third comes flexibility. One needs to be very flexible in communication. As I told already, we are all living in an environment of intercultural, multilingual and different other aspects. So we have to develop adaptability in the sense with the given consideration of the changes in the society, we should be willing to change in the sense one should be ready to learn as per the changes that goes on. So you should become a lifelong learner and you should be willing to accept things which are changing, because today because of technology we have new things that are replacing the old aspects. So it is a phase where we have to adjust ourselves, understand, learn, and we should also be in a position to teach others. Fourth point that I have listed is integrity. One should be very honest, follow ethical rules, being very morally highly appreciable and should have values. So you should be integrate to the place where you're working or with the relations that you maintain which shows your personality. The fifth point is about interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is how you are able to communicate with the other person. In the sense, you should be nice, you can be very personal with the person, you can also be very considerative, very friendly, you can have good positive attitude towards the persons, you can be very humorous, you can be empathetic, sympathetic. Irrespective of all these things, your interpersonal skills should be in such a way that as per the situation, according to the communication, you can be very flexible and are able to communicate in the best manner. The sixth point is attitude. You should always have a positive attitude. Positive means very optimistic. So when you are optimistic, you are enthusiastic, you are very encouraging, you become very happy and confident to handle the situations, take up any projects, do it in the right way, and you explore it in the best manner. So your attitude always should be very positive, though you are not able to be successful in a given project or whatever. The attitude carries you all along till the end of the course. The seventh point is professionalism. So when you are in a proper in a profession, you should be according to the profession. You should be. I mean, you are doing business, so it's like business, very professional, very concise, direct, okay, and be very clear, okay, so that you just are effective and successful. The eighth point to remember is you should be very responsible. Responsibility means accountability. People will rely on you, on your job that you are going to do. So the resources that you have, everything you have to ensure that it is in the right manner. Therefore, your disciplinary actions or your dedication all comes into place. Your presence of mind, consciousness, how you act as per the task given to you. So when you are very responsible, your presence of mind is very good and you will definitely be successful. The ninth point to remember here is teamwork. When you are in a good team and you are able to work in a team, get along with others in a very agreeable manner, helping them, being very supportive, collaborating and coming out with the right and the proper solutions, then you will be a great source and you will be a very helpful for the organization. Last comes work ethic. Work ethic means you should be willing to work. In the sense, you should have that hard working attitude, you should be very loyal, be self-motivated, and especially be on time. So these are the 10 key interpersonal skills that I have listed. I request you to please go through this and see that you are able to develop all these skills. Like you have to practice, ensure that you are on the right track and check yourself. Now, simply speaking, what is interpersonal skills? Because intrapersonal skills is something which a person speaks to himself, but inter is an exchange of information between two people or more people. Thus, the opposite of interpersonal communication is impersonal communication and not group, public or mass communication. Interpersonal skills aren't just people skills, they are life skills. You should know how to communicate in a group. You should know how to get along with a project or some teamwork. And they help us communicate and relate to others. Most of the trouble we run into with others is due to miscommunication or the communication which is not sent in the proper manner. And there are many types of miscommunication which we encounter in the due course. Now, another important point to be noted here is that culture defines how we perceive others around us and how we respond or react, because interpersonal skills are influenced by culture. Here I should make a note, language and culture go together. You cannot separate a language and culture. So that's why we have to understand the culture. What is the culture of a language? Because there you can understand the language in the best way. Some negative cultural outcomes seen in day by day conversations and written communications are, for example, I have just listed hate speeches, racism, and few dislikes among certain ideologies. So it's important for us to keep aside our cultural influence aside when communicating with large and cross cultural audience, because we have to accommodate, understand, because we are all living in a global scenario and the audience is no longer homogeneous. I mean, they're all not of one community or one type. Okay, so now we are speaking and writing to a larger audience, and you can call them as heterogeneous audience. So let us learn some interpersonal verbal skills, like you should be willing to say, I can help you, I'm sorry, right away. Okay, you can tell them that you're welcome, thank you. So you have to inculcate the habit of using these positive statements here and there. So, in order to develop, communicate, interact effectively, the rapport should be in such a way that there is no miscommunication. So, for example, let us use this word please and see. The word please is one of those words that shows good manners, okay, or come across as sarcastic based on your tone. So here tone is also important. You have to use it as a way that shows your sincerity, because here once again we have to understand that words, whatever we speak, is only 7% effective, whereas voice is 38% effective. So when you say that for example you say please in a very sarcastic tone, it is very obvious that you are not sounding pleasant. But you use a good tone and say please, that tone matters and the communication becomes very courteous. Okay, so let us look at another word, you're welcome. When someone says thank you, your instant response should be you're welcome. You're certainly welcome, or some variation that feels comfortable to you. For example, my pleasure. I was happy to do that. Okay, so these kind of words we have to accommodate in our day-to-day conversations. Okay, so may I, the phrase may I puts you on the same side as the person you are speaking to, and you sound less demanding than if you were to leave it out. For example, when you say, may I see that book? You give the person an opportunity to share what she's looking at. So, we need to use some helping verbs, etc., some words which helps us to have a better communication. I've listed some more, like excuse me. This is an acknowledgement that you are asking forgiveness for leaving the table, coughing. So when you say excuse me, it is an acknowledgement. The other person who is besides you will empathize with you. Next, pardon me. This phrase is interchangeable with excuse me. Pardon me sounds more formal. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. So when you say I'm sorry, it is like you have made a mistake and you are excusing, like you are asking for some forgiveness because you feel that you have hurt someone's feelings. Okay, so you can say I'm sorry. Okay, which comes right away in the first attempt, and these kind of expressions help us to be very, very accommodative in our conversations, and it helps us to develop good relation. There are one or two more examples to sound better instead of being harsh. For example, you say, I want a sandwich. It's like a demand. Okay? You can say, I would like a sandwich, or I'll have a sandwich, please. This sounds better. So, English language is all about communicating, and it's such a pleasant language which we have to use it in the right way. For example, instead of send me the report, you can say, could you send me the report? So, the polite way of expression is very important in English language. There is another example which says, go away, leave me alone. So, it is a command. Instead of that, you could say, could you give me a minute? Sorry, I'm a bit busy right now. That shows your emotional balance. That shows how you are able to communicate better. Another example, tell me when you're available. That also sounds rude. You can say, let me know when you're available. Another example, you're wrong. Instead of saying you're wrong, you can say, I think you might be mistaken. Or you can say, I'm afraid I disagree. Okay, so you can be very polite, humble, and courteous in your conversation. Though you disagree, still you can put it in the best acceptable manner. Instead of saying that's a bad idea, you can say, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. I have a few concerns. So, these are all just examples which I have illustrated for you to understand the importance of communicating with one another. When we communicate in a group, maybe in a group discussion or in a team, we need to understand the emotions and feelings of each and everyone. So, empathize, accommodate, okay, be humble, understand, be flexible, and put forth your ideas in the best possible way. So, students, I want you to go through the 10 key points that I have illustrated, which helps you to improve your interpersonal communication skills. At the same time, you should also practice in a group when the task is given, so that you will be able to improve your interpersonal communication skills. Thank you.